Greetings of peace, love, and light, and welcome to Divine Sun Rays, where we inspire you to discover your multidimensional selves. I'm your host, Robin Ringgold, and we will be taking live questions today from the Q&A section. And today's guest, as we had last week, is Kristins Davies. And Kristin is a channel. She is a native of Canada, and in her mid-20s, she had health issues that led to an encounter with her guardian angel. And this led her to find out more information about angels, and then in turn, led her to her path of spirituality and channeling. Her sole goal and focus is to be a support for others, as she did not have this type of support for herself. And Kristin and Randy Brumley started a Facebook group, Intuitive Angel Messages. And Kristin also has a YouTube channel called...
My name.
Okay.
You just find me.
Okay.
Channeling myself. So
okay, awesome.
So, YouTube under Kristins Davies. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So within their group also, they offer one-on-one sessions, awesome channelings, messages, Facebook Live events. So it's a pretty awesome group. So today we're having a conversation about the higher self. You know, we've been hearing this buzzword, I guess, higher self for the last few years.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about the higher self and kind of really break down what is the higher self. So let's start with that question. What is the higher self?
I was right there 15 years ago wondering the same thing. And I thought to myself, well, I knew that there was much more to me than just this, right? And that, over time I realized that I was actually, a being of light and love having a human experience. We don't remember. We come into this not remembering anything outside of this. I guess you would call it amnesia. So at one point I decided, well, if I'm accessing the angels and I'm communicating with the angels and I'm, chatting with some of the archangels, then maybe I should try to chat with my higher self. And that was a little bit of a surprise, actually. I was like, oh, I'm actually getting a response. And I could tell it was connected with the energy from within myself. And it was aware of everything going on in my life. And then it was years later where I said, well, for me, for everyone, including myself, like to have a name for, I'm Kristin, you're Robin. So what is my higher self's name? So then I remember asking that question as well. And I remember getting a name in which had a description of what my higher self was as well, which was really quite interesting. So when I asked, I heard my higher self's name was Remembrance. And again, of course, my higher self is what I've always felt is a spark or a being of light and love that is created by God and is God. So it's kind of tied in as being the same. However, I'm very much aware that, there's a much broader energy perspective, God, head source, however you want to word it, prime source creator, in which I have other connections with and a broader perspective with, if that makes any sense. It's a lot.
Okay, so I guess for me, years ago, I used to kind of have this separate thing where I would say, oh, that's my lower self, and like I want to be in my higher self. But at that time, I thought of it more like, oh, my lower self like wants to eat sugar and like not exercise and do things like that. So that was kind of my original or initial understanding of it. But as I've been progressing, to me, it feels like it is like the highest part of myself, like my God self that knows all and everything. And my goal has been to kind of like become that or merge that higher self with with who I am now in my human, I guess I would say. So
I suppose how do I explain that? I've never tried to be, I've tried to connect with my higher self more. I've tried to uh, uh, get information that may help me in certain parts of my life. I'm very aware that I only have a small percentage of the broader perspective of me, of my higher self within me. So for me, I feel like within this experience, I'm to enjoy this experience as a human being. So, you know, when I exit this, then I will reunite with the wholeness of who I am. I think that it's far too maybe broad,
vast.
vast for me to. However, my higher self will help me be more in alignment. It helps answer a lot of questions. It guides me in directions in which are best and for my highest and best good. So yeah, I try to connect with it more and learn from it because it is so vast, it is so broad. And I also know that even more so when I connect with God, which is, you know, in our limited understanding or terms of what that is, an energy in which always has been and will always be love and light, all knowing. You know, we could go on, but some of those are how I describe God. So it's a lot. It's a
Okay.
lot, even for me, and I've been channeling, you know, and connecting, and I'm learning and growing from. I'm trying to be a better human being by connecting and listening to the guidance that I receive, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. So when you ask the archangels or source, what is the higher self, do you get a different answer?
Yeah, I learn from them all the time. So before I started hearing, I would say, "Oh yeah, everybody has a soul, right?" Um, so, and then and over time, I've asked God to describe what that means to God. Um, I just get a little bit of laughter, which is, you know, an omnipresent being of light and love. Um, a spark of source energy, if you want to say it like that.
Yes.
Just listening in, if there's any other way you want to describe it. Love and light.
Okay.
Um, uh, Omnipresent and uh, eternal is the
Okay.
other word that I'm getting.
Okay. So I've heard some other words that have been used to describe the higher self, such as like oversoul. Are there other words out there that are kind of meaning the same thing?
God saying we could label and make more and more and more labels of it, and we could use other words to describe it, but it all means like we're all describing really the same thing, which is a being of light and love,
Okay.
and in which God created. So you could also look at it like we are children of God. You could look at it like that if you wanted to see it from that perspective.
So, okay. So would you say that your intuition is the same as your higher self? Like that's your higher self communicating with you?
I would say that my intuition is my higher self communicating with me. Intuition I get like with a feeling or a nudging. Sometimes I'll even get like internally like a pull or a draw towards something.
Mhm.
That for me is either it's either the angels, my divine team guiding me, or it's my higher self guiding me, or it could also be God guiding me. A lot of the times for me, it's my angels. However, from time to time, like for example, I'll give you an example. You know, I had ulcerative colitis for 8 years. So when I was rolled out of surgery and I'd had my large intestine removed, I remember just this absolute relief coming from my soul, which was hovering above my body a bit more, maybe out of the body, you know, because it wasn't exactly the best experience. So I was very much aware that my soul was feeling such relief that it wouldn't be housing in a body in chronic pain any longer. So that was an interesting observation for me, that I was sensing my soul's relief and joy, well, really happiness and relief that it wouldn't be housed in a body suffering.
Okay. So now, are you using the term soul and higher self interchangeably?
Yeah, I totally am.
Okay.
So I see it, and God's tapping in here. We could say higher self, soul. We can say over soul. We can say, you know, being of light and love. We can say spark of source, omnipresent being of light and love. And in truth, it is. Yeah, it's all that we are describing the same thing. Just like, for example, I could say God, or I could say, because we are God, we are source, right? So we are a spark of the creator, prime source creator, love and light. And the beauty of this is that our higher selves are connected with and tapped into everything. So we are all connected. We are all one, right. If that makes sense.
So that reminds me kind of that unified field. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
We're all unified. We're all connected. We are all one.
Right. Okay. So we have this kind of like, so we have this soul or higher self, and that higher self is experiencing multiple realities and multiple dimensions at the same time, but there's only one higher self, one soul that is having all of these experiences.
Yep.
Okay.
I listen. Wow. It's far more vast, I think, than we could. Even I know. I get bits and pieces, and I'm like checking in and listening. But I know it's far more vast than we could possibly. I'm just asking if, yeah. Okay, so for example, source or God is always growing, right? Always expanding, always growing, always evolving.
Okay.
And so part of that is the expansion of itself by creating our higher selves.
Okay.
And expanding and growing. I'm often called the way shower, and often I'm hearing that we are out on the outer frontier, right? Like we are there are times where I'm hearing that we're brave for coming here and taking on this kind of, you know, lifetimes and learning in this way. Yeah, because there's a lot about that. Phone calls, they come in. So we are constantly evolving and growing.
Okay.
We're never stagnant. And if you feel stagnant, it doesn't necessarily even feel good, even if it's temporarily in this human experience. So always growing and evolving.
Okay. So one of the things that I guess I had thought maybe or believed is that I should be trying to anchor my higher self into my physical vessel. And there's lots of practices out there, like, you know, activating your 12 chakras and pulling in that higher self into your vessel. And I even have a practice where I say, I surrender my human to my higher self. And, you know, I mean, I do all those kinds of things. But so do you kind of feel like that's not the goal? Like our higher self should stay here and we are having this human experience, or do you feel like we should be anchoring our higher self into our vessel?
I personally have never felt the need to anchor my higher self into my vessel because I feel like my higher self is connected with everything and it's everywhere. So if I want to connect and be more connected with my higher self, for example, then I will create more of a stillness within. And then that will allow my higher self to connect with me more easily. If I have more of a busy mind, or I'm on the go, go, go all the time, if I don't have that quiet space daily, meditation, for example, wonderful, twice a day, is a great way to connect with your higher self. I don't feel like I need to pull my higher self into myself. I'm just going to listen to what God is saying on that topic.
Okay.
Okay, so your higher self is everywhere, connected to everything.
Okay.
Omnipresent. Omnipresent. God's very joyous. Happy always. Yeah, so just trying to show me and show everyone that your higher self isn't something that you need to pull into yourself per se. Also, with what's happening with the ascension and the anchoring of God's light in within us, is every cell, every bit of us is being filled up even more so and emanating even more so.
Okay. So maybe, okay. So maybe anchoring isn't the right word, but is it more that we should be operating from that higher space or knowingness or God self?
See, and this is where I'm turning to God on this one, because that's not something I've thought of before. God feels as though it's more important to be in a space of allowing and creating that stillness in order to connect with your higher self, rather than pulling it in or trying to be from that perspective more so. Meditation, following your intuition, and being a bright light in this world is what is best.
Okay, awesome.
And being a bright light means, you try your best to come from a space of being happy and joyous, and it's not always going to be smooth sails, but how long you stay in that uncomfortable feeling is up to you. So over time, as you practice, you begin to shift out of that. And that would be what I would determine as being as you shift out of those uncomfortable, when, everybody's going to grieve, everyone's going to mourn, but don't let it go on for too long. And that's often what I hear from those on the other side. Grieve and feel it, but don't let it go on too long. And then as you shift out of that right there, as you shift out and into a better feeling emotion and better and better and better, you are then connecting more so with your higher self, because your higher self is up here.
Okay, awesome. So how do we know that we're communicating with our higher self versus the archangels or source or our angels or spirit guides?
Yeah, totally great question. In the beginning, I conversed with Archangel Michael, then I went to my angels. I had God converse with me once or twice, and that was interesting. I remember saying to God, how come you speak to me in a masculine voice? Like, do you prefer to be masculine? And I remember God being quite humorous about it, and in mid-sentence switched it into a female voice, like, oh, well, if you would like me to speak as a female. And I was like, no, that's okay. That's fine. So however we are comfortable in hearing what we hear. Okay, so what's the difference? Okay, different pitch and tone. I feel like when I'm connecting with my higher self and listening to my higher self, it's not just separate of me, it is me. I can feel the vibration within myself when I'm connecting with my higher self. I feel like there's a portion of my higher self that's housed here throughout every bit, like your energy body.
Okay.
And then the broader perspective of my higher self, I know, is there. And it comes closer to me to connect and communicate with me. And it's coming through with more of a feminine energy. However, I've heard that my higher self is incarnated or had multiple lives in which have been more female rather than male. So if that makes any sense there. It's way more wise and way more advanced than this ever could be, ever. Yes. So it's, I'm like, I know I'm connecting with my part of my, well, myself, but I know it's, I know this is but temporary, you know, just right. Like anything living, an apple, an orange over time, right? So I know that my higher self is eternal, yes. Omnipresent, eternal, all-knowing. Because my higher self, I can tell, like, if it doesn't have the answer to the question which I'm asking, it's a slight delay while it's checking in with God and or the, you know, the energies such as possibly the archangels. I think it's more God from what I get. And that's what I'm hearing too. It's checking in with God for information. And information travels very fast. So I can tell it doesn't know the answer and then it has the answer. And then wow. And then it's connecting. So it's all funneled down here. And then, and some of the answers are pretty intricate and detailed to the point where I have to write them down to remember them.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So I like how you said that, you know, it's far more advanced than what we can think or know. So would you say that what we feel is closer to?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. I always go with how I feel. And sometimes, depending on which path I'm going on, I'll feel them communicating. There is a way in which your higher self communicates with you. So even if you can't hear your higher self is always communicating with you, just like the angels are always communicating with you. And by way of your heart chakra and your solar chakra, where your abdomen is. So that's your intuition. If it's a pulled back tight feeling, pay attention to that. Always pay attention to that, and then ask a few more questions. And, well, would it be best for me to go in this direction? Or would it be best for me to, you know, pay attention and go in that direction? Right. And then the answer will come. So it'll be tight as like a slight warning. It's always talking to you. And if it's open, it's like, yes. And it's almost like a pull or a draw in a certain direction, like you're feeling it, but you're also getting pulled. There's like a pulling. And if you feel that, and that path seems super highlighted to you, boy, take that path. Mm-hmm. You can even ask the question several times. If you're going to sit and ask questions, mm-hmm. It's best if you're in a very relaxed, grounded place. Okay. If you just, you know, consume sugar, maybe your mind is racing, maybe you've got worries and stressors, just wait until you come down a bit. Maybe go have a nice hot bath or go sit by the ocean and ground yourself. Right. And or meditate, and then ask the questions. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So you said your higher self actually has a name. So would you say that all of our higher selves, they have a name that we could ask?
Yep. To my knowledge. Anything else? I'm just checking in. God right here. The energy of God here beside me. I said, God, you want to help me out with this one? Because I know that even me, I have a limited perspective on much of this, right? Like I have some information, but I know I can chat with Source, God, light and love, and it has the answers to everything. And it's always operating for our highest and best good. I'm being told I'm doing a good job. Okay.
You are.
Always supportive. You've got the ultimate team with you at all times. That's what you have to always remember. And so no matter what happens, no matter where you go or whatever happens in your life, you're never alone, ever, ever. And those out there that ever think that they're alone, they're not. It just brings me to tears almost a little bit, because I know the support and love that's out there. If you feel down and your vibration's lower, then you may not connect as easily, because this vibration is much higher, right? But know that just because you don't hear or see or even feel, know that you have the ultimate support with you. Sorry, what was your question again?
I think I was asking about a name for our higher selves.
Right. Everybody has yes. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. God's saying, talking about your higher self's name, and okay.
Oh, may I know it?
Yep, that's what God's just asking right now. Okay, so let me just relax and see what I'm getting here, because these names are not like, John and Mary. These names like remembrance. And then I'm like, well, what does that even mean? And then there's a full meaning behind that, what the definition of my soul's name is, or housed here, my small percentage here, and what the purpose is. No, correction, it's the entirety. Okay, I get guided right on the spot here. Okay, ready. Whoa. See, these names are very different for me, even for me to pronounce. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so God is describing what your soul means, what your purpose is, okay? So I'm getting you standing there with a ball of beautiful white light, and God is saying, pointing at you and saying that you are the keeper of the light.
Wow.
You are the one who shows others the way by housing the light within.
Wow.
Wow. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you can tap in and access this information, but it's very so your name is long. For me to pronounce it might be difficult, but what I'll do is I will, okay. Source, get my attention here. Okay, I'll try and get it. Hold on. Okay, sorry, more information on you. Keeper of the light also means you are carrying the light. So you're keeping it, but you're also carrying it forward.
Wow, thank you.
And your purpose is to show others, and you are also in the you're in the front, right? And you're like, come on, everybody. And you're reminding people of the light within themselves.
Wow.
Just by being in your presence and just by being on the earth, you're doing this.
Wow. Thank
Okay,
you.
so Source is telling me that I will relay your name for you afterwards.
Okay.
It's a long one like mine. It took me, like I had to write down remembrance, and then what does that mean? So the meaning with my name is the way shower. So so I see a torch of light, and
Okay.
I'm running into the dark, and I'm
Wow.
showing others the way. Come on, this way.
Wow.
So we're gonna light up any darkness.
Wow. That's so beautiful. Awesome.
Isn't
I
it
want
beautiful?
to, sorry, I want to remind that we have a few attendees, and I would love for you guys to ask questions.
Any questions?
Look,
It's go
you have the
time.
floor. You have it wide open. Sources right here. Do you have any other questions? Please ask.
Yeah, please ask, because as I'm channeling, I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm evolving, right? And uh, everything is moving and evolving and growing all the time, and shifting and changing.
And I do have another question.
Oh,
So does the higher self, okay, so say you're asking an angel for guidance. Does the higher self and the angels consult,
yeah,
or does one have like, is
all the
one the guide?
I'm hearing yes all the time, all the time,
The higher self has the say so?
all the time, connecting with the angels.
Okay.
Let's just see what else I get. You see, I can tell my higher self is communicating with me, because when it's talking with me, it's talking with me, but I'm also picking up the vibration throughout my body of it being me. It's talking to me, but it is me. My angels are telling me that they help my higher self along with helping me in this experience, this temporary experience.
Okay.
And again, these lifetimes are like this in the eternalness of our souls.
Wow.
And so the angels are reminding everyone to cherish every moment of this experience, cherish every bit of it.
Wow.
And if you are ever struggling in life, whether you believe in angels or not is irregardless to them, but you asking for help is required, because this is a free will zone on earth. And
Yes.
so in this free will zone, our souls have the free will. And so it's important to just talk. It'll seem silly at first. You'll talk into thin air, or you talk in your mind, and you just start listing off all the things you want help with. They hear every word, and then they can get to work and helping you. Most people, they may get connected with their divine team, including maybe their higher self and their angels, when they're in despair and asking for help in that way. They'd rather just be able to help us with so many different things in our lives, and they can and they will, but they're waiting for you to ask. And that is it.
So we have one of our viewers has two questions.
Okay.
And I'm curious, do you need to know like the first name in order to answer for them, or you just feel the energy?
Maybe just first name.
Okay. Okay, so one of our viewers, her name is Lynn, and she wants to know what is the best way to shift your emotional state to be more positive and joyful?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll ask the second question. Do you want me to ask it now or first?
No, let's go with this one first.
Okay.
Okay. So in order to shift yourself into a higher vibrational place, the first thing I do is I take every low vibrational thought I'm having and or any problems that I'm having in life, and I hand it off to my angels in every moment of every single day. And that takes a lot of focus and practice.
Yes.
So you do that for like 2 weeks minimum, and you'll notice a huge shift within yourself, because that's just like an old tape that keeps going on and on in your head, and the angels will begin taking them.
Yes.
And so they just won't come back, or they'll replace them with, well, really, you'll just feel so much lighter and better. I remember saying to my angels, I'm so tired of having so many low vibrational thoughts. And they said, well, hand them all over to us. And I would do it like 25 times a day. And I said, man, I'm going to hold to this because I want to feel better. And I'm done with where that is. So I would just hand it off, and wow, what a huge difference. And then the ones that would come back from time to time, I would just go, oh, there it is.
Yes.
And then the other thing is you can use affirmations.
Yes.
So if I'm having issues with money, for example, instead of the same boohoo pity party fear-based worry thoughts about money, I'll actually catch them and hand them off to my angels. And then I'll replace it with, all of my needs are being met for me abundantly in all areas of my life now and always. Amen. My angels are taking care of ensuring that all of my needs are being met abundantly for me now and always. And so it is. And the beauty of it is, I always say now and always, and I always go with, and so it is. And this, or something better, God. So maybe in this limited, perspective, I think that's what's best, but God has a whole bigger, better picture there. So I always say this or something better, God.
Yes.
The third way I would go about it is whatever issues that you're having, you hand it off, and then you can write down on a nice big piece of paper everything that you would like help with in your life. And that is everything, including raising my vibrational frequency. Help me please to have more high vibrational positive thoughts and feelings from this day forward. Amen. And you write that down on a piece of paper. You write it all down so that your whole team of angels who are just like waiting to help you, they're going to read every bit of that, and they're going to get to work in your life. And you just give it some time. It might happen tomorrow, but it might happen in a month, might be 2. But all I know is those 3 ways are tremendous at helping raise my vibrational. And then over time, if I sink into a lower feeling, it doesn't resonate with me as much anymore, and I don't want to stay there as much anymore. So I simply just go, okay, well, how long do I want to feel this? So I feel it, and I face it, and I'll talk about it, and I hand it off to my angels, and then maybe I'll go have a nap. Maybe I'll go for a walk out in nature. Maybe I'll go and have a nice hot bath. But in the end, by the end of the day, I've shifted that because it doesn't feel very good. It's kind of like those old clothes that I used to wear, but it doesn't feel good anymore. Right. And that's a beautiful place to get to. And you can do that I would say fairly quickly.
Awesome. Her second question is, what is the biggest obstacle to connecting with your higher self?
Okay, here it is. Okay. You think that you have to make it happen, and you've got to focus on doing it and making it happen, or strengthening, grasping. It's the opposite of that. It is complete relaxation. Maybe light a candle, stare off into the candle for a bit. It's completely allowing. It's in a complete state of allowing. It is, so I always suggest in connecting with your higher self that the way in which that is best is when you come out of meditation, when your mind is still and nice and quiet. I always recommend A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. That book, A New Earth, changes things. You observe life differently. And if I were to ever promote a book, that would be the number one, Free Yourself. Yes. Because when all the time, it gets old after a while, doesn't it? Yes. So you free yourself by reading that material. If it means that you have a nap or you wake up in the morning and that is when your mind is quiet and you're just in a state of allowing, then that is a great time to connect with your higher self. And in the beginning, you may not hear or feel anything, but I guarantee over time you will. because you desire it.
Right.
So if whatever you focus upon, it's the law of attraction. Whatever you focus upon, whatever you desire, and whatever you dream and wish to have happen will happen. That's why it's so important what goes on in here. You know, I mean, we all have our moments, but just don't sit there. Don't dwell or sit in the pity party, I call it, for too long, or
Right.
allow the monkey mind to go off for too long.
Right. Do you have any personal message for her before we get the last question?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what God would like to say. No. God is stepping back, and I sense your angels are here. Your guardian angel is saying this: you are not alone. We are here by your side. God created us as omnipresent beings of light and love in order to help you and guide you and assist you throughout this lifetime and all lifetimes, in all ways. Speak with us in here out loud, or write it down on a piece of paper, and we will hear you. We will read the paper. That which you give focus to is what you create. And so if whatever you desire, dream, or wish up to have, speak with us, and we will help bring this into your experience, into your life. And now they're saying, we send many blessings of light and love to you,
Awesome.
dear one. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so Alex is asking, is a higher self of humans in any particular dimension, say fifth, sixth, or seventh? And is there a difference between the higher selves of 3D beings and beings from higher dimensions?
The second one is a definite yes.
That there is a difference if they are like our higher self. Okay, so that kind of...
Okay, sorry. You're asking if the higher self within a body is different than in a body that's in a higher vibrational frequency.
Right. Okay, so the first question is a higher self of humans in a particular dimension? So does my higher self exist in, say, the fifth, sixth, or seventh dimension, or is it not confined to a dimension at all?
There's no confining.
Okay.
There's no limitations. There's no confining. That's what God's telling me. There are no limitations. So now the second question is, okay, go ahead with the second question.
Okay. So is there a difference between the higher self of a third dimensional being and then beings from higher dimensions? I guess it's kind of the same question, but...
A higher vibrational being is more easily accessing the energy around itself and the information that is being relayed to them. A higher vibrational being is more free, is free, it's free. There is no lack, there is no judgment, there is no restriction. Okay. And that is where God would like us all to move in that direction.
So essentially, is that what this whole ascension process is about?
Yes. 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 Free yourselves.
Yes. That's awesome.
God is saying, what I wish for my children is that they are happy and joyous and light-filled, and that should they wander in their minds and vibration into lower vibrational feeling, emotions, thoughts, that they access their divine team in order to receive help and guidance and assistance, and also then begin practicing their awareness of their thoughts and their vibration and their emotions, and begin accessing better feeling, better vibrational place of existing, and then shifting more and more out of any lower vibrational feeling place more easily and freely. Don't sit there for too long.
Awesome. So also, do you have any personal messages for Alex?
Okay, God's stepping aside and your angels are coming in. Okay, so I'm hearing it's actually Archangel Michael. Okay, you ready? I think you're working with Archangel Michael. That's why he's here, and he's ready to come through with this message for you. Okay, I'm like loud and clear. Let's do it. Okay. You are a being of light and love that chose to come forth into this experience in order to help raise the vibrational frequency here upon the earth plane. And I will help you do this should you wish. Your purpose here is great, and it is time. It is time, dear one, in order for you to step forward on your life's purpose, your life's path. I am always here for each of you that should wish to connect with me or speak with me. I send you many blessings of light and love. Amen.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, this has really been great. I think we should kind of sum up by just maybe reiterating maybe 5 things that people could do to connect more with their higher selves.
Absolutely. Be in a place and a state of allowing. It's not something you try to do. It's complete relaxation, deep breathing, meditating. Connect with your higher self when you are still and quiet and peaceful. And first thing in the morning when you wake up, or after a nap, or when you're coming out of meditation. And then over time, what happens is you just quiet your mind long enough and you can pick up and hear what they're saying at all times. If I say something that isn't what they say, I think I've got it right, but I don't. They correct me and tighten up my chest on me. So I am constantly paying attention to their vibration and how I'm feeling. But your higher self would love to communicate with you. If you can't hear what is being said, you yourself can ask for help, and they'll hear every bit of that. So the other way is, you may not hear, but you will feel in your body. Your body will tell you always. In your chest, where your heart chakra is, in your solar plexus. And so you can practice with your loved ones that want to practice just yes or no questions. You know, am I holding something green in my hand? Your higher self will answer that. Open, light, yes. You know, am I holding a pen in my hand? It'll be a yes. Am I holding anything in my hand? Tightness, pulled back, tightness, throat chakra, tightness in my abdomen. That will all signal the answer. If you get an answer that is open, shut, like that, it can be a little confusing at first. And what that means is, you can take that path that you're asking about, but we just want you to hang tight while we guide you down an even better path. Okay, so should I move to this direction or move into this city? You might get that answer, which just means to hang back for a little bit and wait for another opportunity to arise. The angels are making something happen. Your higher self is connecting with your angels to bring that in. Anything else? God's like, nope.
Wow.
It's a state of relaxation and allowing. So you don't have to push anything or try to make anything happen. Just allow it to happen and just feel just nice and relaxed, having a nice quiet mind.
Yes, yes.
Do that for yourself just to free your own mind, I say.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, Kristen, this has been awesome today. I've really enjoyed it. And I just want to say,
I feel great.
yeah, I want to say thank you. And I'm so honored for Source, for the archangels, for angels, for our attendees. This has been really awesome today.
Source is doing this, like pretending that Source has a hat on, and then you're welcome. Smiling big, really happy.
Awesome, awesome.
Awesome.
So, Kristen and I will be having these live chats on Mondays around 5-ish. So look out for our next topic.
Yeah, all kinds of topics.
Yeah.
I learn a lot while I'm doing this too.
Yes, it's awesome. So you can find us on YouTube. Kristen is under Kristen Davies at YouTube, and in her Facebook group, Intuitive Angel Messages. You can find me on YouTube under, Divine Sun Rays, and on Facebook, I have a group called Divine Sun Rays as well. And, stay tuned, and thank you for joining us today, and, look forward to you joining us for our future chats.
Great, that'll be great. More questions, the merrier. Bring it on.
Yes, absolutely. This was awesome. So thank you. I'll see you next Monday.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.